We all have moments when we feel like we might just explode with stress or frustration. And today I want to share with you my 5-point plan for using mindfulness to manage those messy emotions so that you can calm down, find your balance, and take some positive action rather than reacting emotionally, because we know that that always ends badly. I'm Dunn. I'm a clinical and coaching psychologist, a mindfulness meditation teacher, host of the Crappy to Happy podcast, and author of the Crappy to Happy books. I am here to help you to overcome the barriers that get in the way of you living your happiest, most fulfilling, and most meaningful life. I'm so glad that you're here, so please make sure that you subscribe, give me a like, and hit the bell to be notified of when I post a new video, which is normally every Tuesday. Now, we've all had moments where we have reached boiling point, and sometimes it's an accumulation of little things that cause you to reach the upper limits of your threshold of tolerance, or maybe you've been blindsided by an event or something that somebody else has done, and suddenly you are full of these intense emotions, maybe anger, anxiety, frustration, disappointment, stress, and you need a plan for getting things back under control so that you can start to feel better, but also so that you don't lash out and do something that you might later regret. So step number 1 is just to recognize that you've been hijacked. And by hijacked, I mean that your emotions are out of control. Something or someone, maybe somebody outside of you or even something within you, could be your own thoughts, feelings, rumination, obsessing, overthinking, the things that we do. It's taken control of your mind and your mood in a negative way, and you are now feeling these intense, uncomfortable emotions. So identifying that you are having this emotional reaction is the first step to actually getting out of that response. And if you can name the emotions you're feeling, that is even better. So here's a super helpful tip. When you're naming emotions, rather than saying, I'm angry, I'm stressed, I'm anxious, try saying, I feel angry, or this is anger. Now that might seem inconsequential, but by using the words I feel or this is, what it does is it puts some space between you and the feelings. Similarly with things like depression and anxiety, I feel depressed or this is depression thinking is way more empowering than I'm depressed or I'm an anxious person. You see the difference? You are much more than a temporary emotional state, so don't overly identify with it. It is not who you are. The second step is to take some slow, deep, calm breaths. When you've been hijacked, that old lizard brain has taken over the controls, it has activated your stress response, and you've got limited access to this higher order rational thinking. So taking those calm, deep breaths will bring down that physiological arousal, and it tells your brain that things are okay so that you can actually access some of that more helpful thinking. I'd like you to focus on an extended out breath. That is the fastest way to calm down your fight or flight response. So you might try breathing in for 4 and out for 7. Just try that now. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How does that feel? Do that a few times and notice how much calmer you immediately feel. Let me know in the comments if the breathing exercise did make you feel calmer. Try it a couple of times. Or if you've got your own particular breathing pattern, a box breathing or some other meditation that you use when you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed. It's probably really helpful for anybody else watching this video, so post it down below. Number 3 is to actually feel your feelings. Now, this might not seem to make much sense given that we're trying to calm down from those feelings, but usually we are so desperate to feel better that we go to things that might numb those feelings, or else we judge ourselves for how we feel, or we get into our head and we start thinking about what we feel, or rationalizing or justifying, and all of this is just more avoidance. So the trick is to actually go into your body, to get out of your head and just ask yourself, what is this feeling? Where is this feeling? And all emotions are actually experienced as physical sensations in your body. So rather than trying to escape or avoid, just go into your body, keep breathing, and make space for those feelings. You might notice if they morph or they change, they might lose their intensity fairly quickly once they actually have some space to be felt. And notice also that those feelings are temporary. And Pema Chodron is the one who says, she's a Buddhist nun who says, remember that you are the sky and everything else is just the weather. These feelings will pass. And extra bonus points if you can offer yourself some kindness and some compassion for those difficult feelings. What would you say to a friend who is feeling like what you're feeling? Is it possible for you to bring some of that same warmth and some of that friendliness to yourself? Step 4 is to get curious about your thoughts. So when you've recognized what's happening and you've allowed your feelings to be there, it's helpful to be curious about what were you actually thinking, because typically your thoughts have a lot to do with those feelings. Now, when I say observe your thoughts or be curious about your thoughts, I don't mean go back into thinking, oh, she's so rude, or he shouldn't have done that, or I should have known better, or people always treat me like this. That's only going to get you back all caught up and hijacked again. It's quite different to actually step back from those thoughts and see them as just passing mental events or just stories that you're telling yourself. Thoughts aren't facts. So maybe try asking yourself things like, what am I focusing on? Where is my attention right now? Remember, what you focus on expands in your field of awareness. What is the story that I'm telling myself? What am I actually making this mean? Something's happened, okay, but what am I making that mean? Am I applying unenforceable rules? Now, these are the rules that you keep in your head about how the world should work and how people should behave, but nobody else necessarily lives by them, so they're really just a recipe for you to feel stressed. Or am I going into victimhood? Am I going into blame? Now, with mindfulness, you have a chance to decide if these thoughts are serving you, or if you want to let them go, or even if you might be distorting things or exaggerating them. But the tip is just to observe, just to be curious about all of this stuff that's going on in your head. And the 5th and final step is to ask yourself then, what do I need right now? And to choose to take a step towards supporting yourself and taking responsibility for getting your own needs met and for calming yourself down. And whatever action you take, it's helpful if it aligns with your values. So if somebody's upset you, for example, you might want to remember Michelle Obama's famous quote, when they go low, you go high. This is about thinking about who the person is that you want to be. What do you want to stand for? How do you act in integrity? And to be clear, this might not be a quick 5-minute process. You might need to spend a fair bit of time working through steps 1 to 4 before you get to the part about what do I need right now. There is no rush here, but working with your emotions mindfully means that you're much more likely to make a wise choice or a skillful choice, not an overly emotional knee-jerk reaction. And if you do fall into those old knee-jerk reactions and you behave in ways that perhaps you're not proud of, then that's okay. You're only human. Remember to be kind to yourself. Just go back to step 1 and work through those feelings of guilt or shame or embarrassment or whatever it is. Take a step that aligns with your values. Don't let your feelings determine your actions. I hope this video has been helpful to you. Let me know in the comments which idea you found the most useful, and don't forget to subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified when I post new videos. Have a fantastic week, and I will see you next week.